so now I'm going to talk about some specific fermented foods and how they can be helpful for various health conditions. Okay, so kimchi. And this is actually pictures from, I make kimchi a lot. It's like one of my favorite ferments. Interestingly, so the average Korean eats about a quarter of kimchi a day. I think most Americans associate kimchi with the Napa cabbage version, but there's all other kinds of kimchis. There's kimchi using cucumbers. It's more about the process of the way it's fermented, not so much about the actual vegetable. I've also, I made, I was on a farm and I made, so like when certain plants, they are left to grow too long, they call it bolting, which basically is that they bring into flour and they're a little bit too bitter to eat. I made a very interesting kimchi out of bolted broccoli. It's very delicious. So kimchi has a lot of different positive qualities. So first of all, cabbage in itself, so if you are making cabbage kimchi, it's very high in a lot of nutrients. It's high in vitamin A, vitamin C, and through the fermentation, you're actually kind of pronouncing those nutrients even more. The other big component specifically, so Napa cabbage, I mean, again, if you're doing either Napa cabbage or a daikon kimchi, these are all in the cruciferous family. So they're also very high in indole-3 carbonyl. And one of the things that probably, I'm assuming that some of the other presenters have talked about the benefits of indole-3 carbonyl in the metabolism of estrogen. So by actually fermenting, so both in kimchi and sauerkraut, you are increasing that. But then the other kind of amazing components about kimchi is it always has onions, and onions that's where we get quercetin, and quercetin has a lot of benefits. And then the last is that it has hot pepper, or you can actually get in some Korean grocery stores, they have non-spicy if you really don't like spice, but the antioxidant qualities of the pepper is very, very beneficial. So some of the things that kimchi can be really useful for, one, definitely immunity. This could be a really good thing, specifically if you are coming down with a cold or flu because of not just the bacteria, but again, the hot pepper and the onion is going to be very, very beneficial. Definitely weight loss. There's been some really good studies showing regular consumption of kimchi and weight loss, and then even in some forms of cancer. So kimchi can be a really good thing to start incorporating into your diet. I also like to throw it on salads. It's really good, you know, mixing it in rice, or making, if you have like really old kimchi, you can make like kimchi pancakes, which are really amazing. There's so much that you can do with kimchi. Okay, so kefir. So kefir comes from the Turkish word kef, which means like good, or like good feeling. And it was discovered by accident in the Caucasus Mountains. And if you see, so I have two pictures here. So I have the one on the left, which looks like a raspberry lime thing, is an example of water kefir. And in the corner of that, you see, so those are the kefir grains, the water kefir grains. And then on the other side is a milk kefir. And below that is the kefir grains. And that's sort of the key when it comes, like, distinguishing kefir from, say, a yogurt. So the way that you start it is with these grains, and these grains specifically, and I guess like the easiest, if you are somebody who does make kombucha and have heard of a SCOBY, which is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So these are kind of like basically little ones, and every time you make a new batch, at the end, you scoop them out. Though when I was early on making kefir, I definitely ate a lot of kefir grains because I don't know, I just didn't have the patience to take it out. And a lot of, I would say like most of the manufactured, or the kefirs that you buy in the store, which are just kind of like a sweet liquid yogurt, I question whether or not those are actual kefirs. And if you notice actually in the milk kefir, there's sort of like a separation. So typically after the fermentation, you will see a natural separation with the whey. And that's sort of why you have like that kind of like that clear top. One of the amazing kind of benefits of kefir over a standard yogurt is that you have so many more cultures. And there's been a lot of different studies using kefir or showing some of the health benefits. One of the big things is with hyperlipidemia, so basically high cholesterol. And kefir has been shown, well, I think they first did studies by just adding the kefir grains to milk, and they noticed that. So milk, because I mean, when we talk about animal dairy, has cholesterol, because anything derived from an animal is going to have cholesterol, that it lowered the cholesterol in milk, but it also lowers the cholesterol in humans. And one of the ways that it works is actually through its action on bile salts. Not to get too involved in all the chemistry, but basically our bodies use cholesterol to make bile salts. And we use bile salts whenever we have a bowel movement. But the thing is that after we have the bowel movement, often the bile salts get recycled. So we're not always using our cholesterol to make the bile salts. Now, when you bring in kefir, it actually changes things a bit and makes the bile salts less soluble. So meaning you're actually going to be excreting more bile salts. And because you're excreting more bile salts, your body naturally is going to have to use more cholesterol to make bile salts. So it's a little bit similar kind of mechanism to why fiber lowers cholesterol because of its action. It's a little bit different, but it's kind of a similar type of action. They've also, another benefit too of kefir is actually with allergies, and some of the strains in kefir, when they're present at high percentages, specifically in infants, we're seeing lower incidence of adult allergies. So basically by altering the gut microbiome, you can actually reduce your chances of allergies. In fact, actually even other types of autoimmune conditions as well.